States where Chicago authorities said one person has died and 6 people were taken to hospitals on Wednesday after a fire at a high-rise apartment building in Kenwood.
Sophia King, the alderman for the area, said the person who died was found in the apartment where fire officials believe the fire began. King said many of the building's residents are older people and that 5 to 6 people taken to hospitals were in good condition. Video footage shows bright orange flames on multiple floors, where at least 9 levels appear to have been damaged with windows blown out and burn marks. The Chicago Fire Department said in social media posts that the fire was initially reported on the 18th floor of the building shortly after 10 a.m. Preliminary reports from an ongoing investigation into a December landslide that killed 31 people in Malaysia seem to indicate that the area used as a farm and campsite was not zoned for agricultural, commercial, or recreational use.
VOA's David Gunenbaum reports from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
What caused the terrible overnight landslide in December that killed 31 people at a campsite at Father's Organic Farm in the rural community of Batang Kali? The Malaysian government is expected to complete an investigation by the end of the month on the cause of the disaster and why a campsite and farm were developed below a steep slope that is downhill from a road built decades earlier.
It's not an appropriate place to do any kind of development. It's very steep, it's fragile terrain.
Tek Win Lim is an honorary associate professor of geography at the University of Nottingham, Malaysia. He's been studying satellite images of the landslide site going back almost 40 years. Using a small-scale slope, he explained what he thinks went wrong.
Long before there was a farm, they built this road. And in order to prevent a landslide onto the road, they took material from above the road and they placed it below the road. And eventually this material, this film material, became waterlogged and collapsed.
In a written statement, the Ministry of Natural Resources, Environment and Climate Change told VOA the Selangor State Environment Department approved an environmental impact assessment report in 2013 for the development of the Botanical Gardens Resort. But the ministry said the area in which Father's Organic Farm was built was assessed not to be suitable for commercial or recreational development.
Where the campers were sleeping, where 31 perished, were at least some of them sleeping in an area that was a no-go area. No farm was supposed to be there, no camping was supposed to be there.
From the initial reports that we got with regards to the data from the Department of Environment, it seems to suggest so, but to make final comments, I have to wait for the full report to be out.
VOA has asked the ministry repeatedly for the Environmental Impact Assessment Report, but so far has not received it. The government has also not answered questions from VOA regarding the ownership of the land on which Father's Organic Farm sits, or on its connection with the Malaysia Botanical Gardens Resort. Malaysia has a history of fatal landslides. In 1993, 48 people were killed when the Highland Towers apartment block collapsed in a landslide. In 1995, 20 people were killed when a landslide sent vehicles into a ravine. And in 1996, 44 people were killed after a mudflow struck their rural village.
Malaysia is a landslide-prone country, and the reason being we have a lot of rainfall. Plus, we also have a lot of steep hilly terrain.
Hassandi Abdullah and Eriko Motoyama are part of Slope Watch, a volunteer group with almost 2,000 members across Malaysia who live in communities with steep slopes. Slope Watch started after a landslide on this hill in 2008 destroyed 14 houses and killed 5 people. Now the hill has a slew of slope drains and a retaining wall. Slope watchers inspect them regularly to try to prevent another disaster.
What we want communities to do is to monitor and watch out for signs of landslides. The other one is to report to the authorities. And number 3 is to engage in maintenance, maintain your slopes.
And this country knows all too well the consequences when safety is compromised. Dave Grunenbaum for VOA News, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.